F, guys. TGIF. I'm glad we made it to see another Friday. Guys, I got, what, one, two? I got at least two more vlogs to put out. Guys, if you've been following this channel for a while, you know content. I'm talking like long form videos. Shorts I can do more often, but guys, most of my shorts are derived from long form content. But I mean, long form content takes a little while to do because, guys, like I said, the content I do, I'm not like really a reaction page. I just record my daily life. So like, guys, if I'm actually working, I mean, the primary focus is to take care of customers, and what I can record around that is what I'll do. But I mean, sometimes once it gets busy, and of course, like I said, you guys know my routine. I'm hitting the gym 4 days a week in the early afternoon. So like, I mean, if I can't put out long form content, I'm talking like at 3 o'clock, give or take. You guys should know. Like I said, I usually do it when I get back from the gym. So like, if you guys don't see long form content up by like 3, you could expect it to pop up like around 9:30, 10 o'clock. And once again, we're on the East Coast, so Eastern Standard Time, of course, either 3 o'clock or 9 o'clock. But nonetheless, guys, I got a very important, very interesting topic to go over. But I'm going to address something here for you guys that you know. Once again, guys, I feel like I'm spinning I'm spinning the wheels here, explaining this shit, guys. Always do things, like I said, do what works for you. Am I telling you that, like I said, what you see me do is the only way to do it? No, you never hear that come out of my mouth. For you guys, like I said, I don't even have time to respond to like negativity because most of the time I'm already busy doing what you guys see me post online. Like, this is just my life. I work and I rock and roll. But like, all these guys saying, yeah, you need to do plumbing straps, or you need to like buy insulated tools. Look, motherfucker, you guys do what works for you. Like I said, me personally, like I said, guys, I don't compare my tactics to no one else. I mean, out of respect to everybody, like I said, do what works for you. You know, if having all insulated tools work for you, or if strapping everything to XYZ works for you, I mean, do what works for you. But I don't really feel the need to compare myself. It's really foolish. Like I said, it really doesn't even make sense because I'm not comparing what I do to like anyone else. So like, guys, once again, you're never gonna hear me talk negative. I just let stupidity, like I said, run its course. But if you locked in, and this is another thing you guys got to understand. If you locked into what you're doing, you're not really gonna have time to go back and forth with people in regards to like, yeah, I wonder what she's saying or what he's saying. I don't really give a shit about that. It is what it is. I feel like the right people will understand. For you content creators that watch my channel, the right people will understand what you're saying. But like I said, those handful of idiots and like naysayers, I mean, let them bark and do whatever they need to do. Like, it is what it is, guys. That's just the day and age that we live in. Everybody has an opinion. That doesn't necessarily mean that every opinion is validated. Most people don't know what the fuck they're talking about. But with that being said, guys, like I said, we're gonna get into the topic here. I was thinking about something the other week, and once again, guys, last week I had at least 4 different topics I wanted to go over, and even today might be like a 30 to 40-minute video. I'm gonna try to make this as succinct as I possibly can. I don't want to go over a certain amount of time here, but guys, I was thinking about something here, and like, I get into a lot of philosophy stuff. If you guys didn't know, like, I like questioning things for what it was, what it is, and potentially what it can be down the line. But one thing I'm gonna go into, this is what, episode 47, is acceptance really necessary? I'm talking with this day and age. And for you guys that's just getting in here, I'm just gonna go down the rabbit hole here. Like, you got to go back to, what is it called? Now, human civilization has been around for like 6,000 or 7,000 years, but the day and age that we live in is very new. Meaning, it's only been about, I think it's called the industrial. I don't know the actual term, but the technology age is only like 200 to 250 years old. And guys, if you look at the grand scheme of things, you can look this up for your own records. As I'm talking like from the Homo sapien areas, like back when, like I said, we were allegedly cavemen. That era lasted, like I said, close to 6,000 or 7,000 years. But the era that we know is only about 200 years old, guys. 200 years is not really a lot to base humanity off of, and that is what we came from. We didn't, human beings did not develop from technology. We developed from, like I said, the Stone Age, or how it was before things were recorded. So who knows, what the most primitive human beings, derive from. They say we derive from chimpanzees or whatever the case is. I mean, gosh, if it wasn't recorded, who really knows? And like that, I don't want to go down a rabbit hole of how things were from like 6,000 years ago. I mean, we only know based off of, you know, the information that they tell us in school and based off the information that's online. But guys, everything can be doctored up to like anyone's opinion. You know, if you think that human beings derive from birds, you can probably find something online that supports that theory, even though that theory is not supported. But guys, with that being said, you know, regardless of how long, you know, human civilization has been around, our current era, you know, that 200 to 250 years, that's not really a lot of information to go off of in regards to, you know, understanding really how human beings are wired. And like, and guys, and this is the reason why I brought this up. You know, is acceptance really necessary? Me personally, I don't believe acceptance is necessary. But what I will tell you guys, it is acceptance. It really depends on your character, like, and how you grew up, and like I said, what your perspective is on life. Now, me being 33, guys, at 23, well, let's take this back. I'm not even gonna say 23, because 23, I was putting in a lot of plays. I was doing a lot of things to understand what I'm doing right now. So like, I want to say 18, guys. Let's say 18 years old. That's a nominal age where a lot of kids go off to college. A lot of kids, you know, you step into the adult world. So like, I want to say like this, guys, like 18 years old, I mean, my perspective on, you know, how I thought things should go, you know, it is what it is, guys. Everybody has an idea in their head, whether they admit to it or not. Everybody has an idea in regards to like how things should go. But in regards to, like I said, you know, like with the acceptance thing, I mean, if you grew up, guys, and like I said, this is no slight towards, you know, people that had a head start, or this isn't a slight towards people that started, you know, below that Mendoza line, started with nothing. I'll say like this, guys, like, you know, if you started at an advantage, I'll say, meaning, you know, and I'm going to preface the advantage thing by saying this. If you had, you know, friends or family or close loved ones, whoever the case is, that could give you the game and make you understand, like, hey, here's what happens if you mess around. Here's what happens if, you know, you take life serious at an early age. Here's what you can look forward to down the line. If you never got the game broken down to you like that, eventually you're gonna have to crash and burn to learn, you know, like, and this is just life facts, guys. Like, either you're gonna learn or you're gonna learn. Like, you learn from other people's situations, or you gotta learn from trying it yourself. And like, I always fell into that second category, guys. I fell into trying shit for myself, and that is part of why I never blamed anyone, because like, everything that happened to me, it happened, like I said, with me being present and me being, you know, I had to understand, guys. Like I said, it was always my choice to do what I did to do, or do what I chose not to do. So like, by me, like I said, taking so much initiative, guys, like that ultimately opened up my mind to understand, like, yo, like, damn, if I would have stayed into this herd way of thinking, like, yo, like, you know what, man, like, since I never seen anyone, like I said, you know, start their own business, or, you know what, if I had never seen anyone, you know, my family or friends, like, exalt past a certain point, maybe it's not meant to be. Maybe it's meant for me to, like I said, work 2 part-time jobs and, like, you know, just be grateful for where I got. Guys, like, that mentality is really, and like I said, you know, to each his own. If someone's living like that, I'm not saying there's anything wrong. Ultimately, like I said, you're in control of where you want to be and the work you put in to get to where you want to be. But like, that herd way of thinking is not for me, guys. Like, and the more I started, like I said, gaining perspective, the more I started taking the initiative, like working my ass off, I'm like, yo, like, you know, life is not really that hard as I thought it would be. Like I said, growing up, I'm thinking, like, you know, and like I said, guys, to each his own. You know, I can tell you from my perspective, how I grew up, guys, is just like I said, you know what it is. It's the haves and the have-nots. But I haven't been around too many haves to understand it. Like I said, you know, just because someone has money, that don't mean they're just trying to keep money away from everybody else and stay rich. You know, opposite to the contrary. You know, you do have extremists at each level, but at the same time, guys, like, this is why I was telling y'all in a couple of GMC talks ago, you know, having a capitalist mindset, you building for your own freedom. You know, you have to make sure you fill your own cup, and then you expand it, and like I said, you can help other people. But like, you have to break free of the monotony of like everyday thinking, guys. And like, I'm telling you, like, you know, it may not look the same for you guys, but there's an underlying understanding of like that day-to-day mentality of like doing the same shit, not having goals, being too tired to do anything, guys. I grew up seeing that. So without me asking any questions, guys, I grew up like seeing, you know, what working, like said, 50, 60 hours, what that does to you. And like, I mean, and like I said, I knew at an early age, like, so you have to work hard, but I didn't know how to go about that. I didn't know, you know, what happens, like I said, if you don't have strong goals, if you don't if you can't, like I said, guys, it is what it is. If as soon as I got at the house, like I said, I knew what I was taught when I was working, growing up, and I'm like, as soon as I started seeing different dynamics, I knew, like I said, from being around it, playing basketball, I knew what happens if, like I said, you be around the wrong environment. You can be a good person, good intentions, but if you surround yourself with the wrong people, guess what? Someone that an enemy to that person you hang around, you know, like I said, guys, trouble is not selective. Like if somebody's coming to kill someone that you hang with, they're gonna think both of y'all in cahoots with each other. So like, guys, like I said, I seen so much fucked up shit. I knew what I didn't want to do, and like I said, that's without someone telling me. But like, I'm not saying that's going to be a guarantee. Sometimes you guys will have, and hopefully you do have friends or family that been through shit that can tell you and that try to warn you, like, hey, it's a reason why you have to work hard, and there's a reason why, you have to, have delayed gratification. You can't expect, good results to happen within a couple months of you making a decision. It takes years and years, small things building up for you to actually see a difference. But like, guys, like I said, back to 18 years old, like, I'm telling you guys, like I feel like knowing what I know now, guys, and looking back, that herd, and I say herd mentality, meaning like if I would have took the status quo of what I was raised, if I would have took the status quo of what was around me, if I never had that, like I said, had that curiosity to like, yo, like, what's on the other side? You know what? I know they're telling me, people like me or people that talk like me don't do X, Y, Z past a certain point, man. Fuck all that. If I go to the other side, like, I gotta figure that, I gotta ascertain this for myself. Like, how would this look? I understand, there's not a lot of people out there at X, Y, Z, but like, yo, if I keep hustling, like, where can this go at? You know what? Fuck it. I'm just keep putting the work in, and like I said, whatever it takes me is where it takes me. And like, guys, like I said, fast forward, that answered a bunch of questions I had in my mind in regards to, like I said, like, how I thought things work versus me seeing it, not only for my life, guys, but me seeing it in other people's lives. Like, you got to understand, guys, like, it's, like I said, you're not going to have all the answers up front, even if, you guys are fortunate enough to have counsel from like friends or family. You have to apply everything you learn. Having all this knowledge doesn't mean anything without practicality, without experience. So like, anyone can tell you, how to run a business, but once you in it day to day, the decisions you got to make, the things you have to conjure up on the fly, that's not something you're going to read from a book. You could get some intel here and there, but like, that book is not going to piece everything together, because like I say, every person is a one-on-one. Your experience, even though me and you may want the same thing, your experience is going to be totally different than mine, because you're you and I'm me. So like, that's why, like, I don't get the comparison game. Like, I mean, it's all motivation at the end of the day if you see someone make it, but I don't get that comparison game. And like, that goes into like what I'm going to get ready to say next, guys. Like, I really believe that, like I said, acceptance is not really necessary. Now, out of respect to how humanity formed back in the day, guys, you had to understand how the politics work. Even right now, guys, like, prime example, look at the animal kingdom, and not to get too far into the rabbit hole here. If we were all, lions and cheetahs and gazelle and all that, guys, if you don't align yourself with the strongest, people in certain demographics, then guess what? You're not going to have access to food. You won't be able to survive. You're not going to have resources. That's an instant death. Like, imagine us all being lions, and we know that, like I said, there's 20 lions that's like 800 pounds and 20 feet tall down the street. Ultimately, and like I said, animals do this all the time. And it's funny, like, animals, we can't tell if they have a conscious mind. They probably don't. They rely on instincts, and they rely on survival. That's what makes humans a lot more, that is what makes humans the dominant species. Even though we do have, primal instincts as far as with our biology with men and women, we have a conscious mind that can adapt and change at any given circumstance. And that's why you can't quantify, two people that look alike, two people that grew up together. That don't necessarily mean that they're going to think alike and they could agree, and like, that's why I'm saying, guys, like that, and I mentioned this before, guys, but I didn't go too far into it. Like, that false idea of unity, guys, I'm not saying everybody should be enemies. Like, nah, like, I feel like you can coexist without, like I said, without, always seeing eye to eye. Like, your perspective is yours. It's not right. Like, so everybody's entitled to their own opinion. I said this earlier. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. Does it mean that it's true or you got to listen to it? I mean, that's up to you. But like, all I'm saying, guys, is like, trying to combine everybody into one sustained way of thinking. Like, prime example, guys, like, look at what the fuck is happening in North Korea. Like, and like I said, I looked this up, guys. It gets to, and I was talking to my barber about this. like it gets to a point where like if me and you grew up in North Korea right now, as soon as you're born, they tell you what you're going to do for the rest of your life. Like think about it. That's like some knowing what we know now, guys. We, once again, us as human beings, you only know something, or we can only comprehend something based on our ability to compare it to something we already seen or something we already know. And like how we know what freedom is right now in the U.S. Like you can get up and do whatever you want to do. You know, this is contrary to the people that's complaining, thinking that, like I said, we still being oppressed. But like, the land of the free is really what you make of it. Where you end up is where you end up at. But like, knowing what we know now, if you take that to North Korea, like I think guys, it's so bad if you don't have a picture of the president or the dictator, that the dude with that skin fade, I don't know his name, the big guy. Like if you don't have a picture of him on your wall, you can get arrested. And I'm like, that shit is like damn near inhumane. It's like and I'm like, but like I said, guys, like foreign politics, it gets very interesting because like us as human beings, I'm talking in America, we only know how life is based on what we've seen and what we heard. But if you go to another country, I'm talking like a third world country where like 20 odds to us is like 100,000 over there. Or if you go to North Korea, where like I said, you got to wear, they only allow you to have 2 different hairstyles. You got to wear the same clothes every day. And like I said, as soon as you're born, you get a piece of paper and this is what you're going to do for the rest of your life. You're going to be a landscaper for 50 years. If not, then, your chances are you're either going to die. You can't escape and go to South Korea. Like now that since they locked down the borders in North Korea, it's just like, I don't get how, like I said, and once again, the people in North Korea got a subconscious mind just like you do. So imagine you kind of like living through someone else. In the back of your mind that you're like, yo, like this is wrong. This is inhumane. But can you do anything about it? No, you're either going to get, killed or you're going to be incarcerated. And I'm like, that's why, like I said, guys, like, just to encapsulate this point I'm on here, like, that acceptance thing, like, guys, like, I'm telling you this from like how I thought at 18, like meaning just I didn't have a solid concrete idea of like what I wanted to do. I just had, I had things that I knew I didn't want to go back to. I didn't want to go back to relying on people. I didn't want to go back to, like I said, being on a fucking hamster wheel of like doing the same shit every day and expecting different results, guys. Like, how does that work? And like, I'm pretty sure, like I said, people be lying all the time. Guys, like I said, everything I'm telling y'all is all rooted in truth here. But like, people lie all the time. Like, you ultimately, guys, even if you agree or not, like you probably know someone or you probably living through it now, doing the exact same shit every day and just hoping for a prayer to fall in your lap. Like, that doesn't work. I mean, that may sound good if you're trying to like sell some, whatever you're trying to sell online, guys. But like, unless you do things differently, different things, different actions, different thinking is what changes people's dynamics. But like, and this is like I said, real shit. I don't care your race or your gender, but as soon as you break away from the norm, you know what you're gonna have to deal with? You're gonna have to deal with criticism. And like, I looked this up with ChatGPT and it said that like, this is back in the day, like they didn't specify the time, but they tried to bridge the gap in between the industrial era that we living in now, like the industrial slash technology era, which is 200 to 250 years from now back versus like thousands of years ago. They said that, like I said, human beings are naturally social animals. So like, we know that, like I said, we need to communicate. We have to deal with other people. And like, that meant survival back in the day. But like, it also said that like, and this is some crazy shit, like as far as the criticism and like people's thinking or other people's opinions regarding us, they said that like somehow, some way, like this is embedded in our human, biology. It said that us as human beings, if someone else criticizes us, in our mind, we take that like physical pain. And I'm like, that's like an interesting thing. Because like, think about it right now, guys. Right now, we're living in a technology era. Like everything you guys see, like what you guys are seeing right now, all this is like either on your phone or on a computer or a laptop or a tablet. So like, this is the future. I don't think, social media is going away, but it's just like, think about it, guys. Like literally, it's been said that someone's rejection or someone's criticism on you is similar to physical pain. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, you can choose not to react. You can choose not to like listen to other people's like point. But like, if someone punches you in the face, like you can't unfeel it. It is what it is. Like at that point, it's on. You gotta you gotta catch that fade, man. But like, I'm like, and like I said, guys, this is why I keep things very subjective, because not everybody's wired the same way. Like, you got some people that are a lot more emotionally stoic than other people. And like, and I mentioned this before, guys, the most emotional people are either dead or in jail, and there's nothing you can really do about it. Like trying to reason with someone, and I hate to say this, like think about back in the day, like RIP to Tupac and Biggie. You think, and someone mentioned this a while ago, on the anniversary of Tupac getting killed. Like, based on how Tupac, and like I said, guys, both of them were very young. Think about you being 24, 25, for you older guys. Like, at 24, 25, you probably still riled up, like, in your whatever the fuck you was doing era. But, like, imagine you being, like, at that casino after, I think it was the Tyson event. You being in that casino, and you already knew what was going to happen to Tupac if he didn't calm down. But you seen that video, him stumping in that casino, and, like, they stomped the Anderson. I forgot the other dude name, like, that killed him. But, like, if you would have, imagine you being in that scenario, and, like, you telling Tupac, yo, like, nah, go back to your hotel, something's gonna happen to you. What's the likelihood of him listening? They might have jumped you. Like, you get what I'm saying? So it's like, I hate to say it, guys, but, like, some people, like, if you can't control your emotions and your mental, regulation, like, you have to be able to, like, whenever you feel, and this could be with anything, guys, in life, personal, business, family, finances, anything you can think of. If you feel yourself getting pissed off, you gotta have some type of way of calming the fuck down. Because, like I said, guys, if you allow and this is what separates us as human beings from, animals. Like, if you give away to your emotions, and like I said, your subconscious thinking is not there. If you give away to your emotions, guys, you're gonna find yourself in bullshit. And it's either going to result in you being in jail, or you're going to lose a lot of money and opportunities. So, but why even subject yourself to that, guys? And, like, we're living in a day and age now where, with social media, people mess up their lives all the time. Look at what happened with the Pooh Shiesty thing. I mean, think about it, guys. Like, at that point, it is what it is. Like I said, with that situation with him and Gucci Mane, but, like, with somebody like that, with that type of thinking, you think you can reason with someone like that? And I hate to say it, man. And, like, I was telling my gym bros this, like, as much as we want to help people, I don't care, black, white, Hispanic, Indian, you want to help everybody succeed. You want to see everybody win. But, like, if they're not there yet mentally, I'm talking like the person that you want to help, if they're not there mentally, like, what can you do? Like, unfortunately, guys, life is the best teacher. Life is going to, let you know if you're right or wrong. But it's just like, to get to that point, man, of just, seeing people, not lose their emotions. Like, I'm telling you, man or women, like, I don't care. This is not, segregated towards, like, a certain group of people or a certain group of race. But, like, once you lose your emotions, man, I'm telling you, like, it's normal for, and like I said, guys, this is not a therapy lesson here. This is, like, real life shit, guys. Like, what most people try to do is they try to suppress their emotions to control them. And that is partially true, guys. But, like, for one, before you suppress it, you have to know that it exists in the first place. And, like, the reason why I say that, guys, is, like, like I said, it is what it is. Everybody gets pissed off some way, somehow. That doesn't mean you have to react. That doesn't mean you have to, like I said, go overboard. But first, you have to understand it. Like I said, not every day you're going to be kind of, like, overjoyous and happy. Some days you're going to, it's going to be better than others, for lack of a better word. But at the same time, just because you're having a bad day, you should know, like I said, in the back of your mind, that, like, yo, no matter what happens, I'm always going to take the good from the situation. No matter what happens, like I said, or whatever someone says, X, Y, Z, I'm always going to find a silver lining. And like I said, I'm always going to turn this into a positive. And like I said, guys, it takes practice. It's not going to be a night and day thing, but, like, you got to really be, dialed in. Like, you have to be self-aware, regardless of whatever situation you in, you was there. And I mentioned that a while ago. Like, it's an old saying that goes, no matter where I'm at, no matter where I go, there I am. What that means is, like I said, guys, like, I don't care if it was your family members, friends, work, whatever, gym, whatever the case is, guys. Every situation happened with you being present or closely around it. So, like, and once again, guys, you can't change people's opinions, whether they're good or bad. That shouldn't be your people's opinions of what they do. It is what it is. That's their reflection of what they're thinking in their head. But, like, you got to have some type of way of, like I said, guys, just controlling your thoughts. And, like, ultimately, your thoughts are going to control your actions. That's just, that's the nature of the beast, guys. But, like, with the whole acceptance thing, man, the acceptance thing, I mean, back in the day, guys, like I said, I'm saying this out of respect because, like I said, I think if we thought how we thought now, I mean, now it's impossible. Like, without technology, like, just further advanced, the human species. Like, now we can make quick decisions. Now, like I said, we can do more research. Like I said, with ChatGPT, the only thing you need is, like I said, the idea, and ChatGPT can, like, conjure up, what you need to do, from whatever the case you want to do. But, like, guys, like I said, back in the day, it was like, that's why I hate comparing eras, because, like I said, guys, back in the day, if you had a rock and you had a stick and you had to, hunt for a family, you probably did certain things that you probably don't have to do now, guys. Now you got, you can go to a supermarket and buy what you need as long as you got the money to do it. So, like, I'm not saying back in the day is worse. I'm not saying now it's easier. every single generation is going to have their own set of problems that they got to deal with. But like, I'm just saying, guys, like, now, like I said, with the acceptance thing, I think people take that shit too overboard, and like now, it gets to it, guys. Like I said, once again, this is not against a race or a gender, but like most people think that the best way of being happy is just kind of like just to not piss people off and like just to blend in. Like, no, I mean, look at who survived doing that shit. Like, I mean, you got politicians that probably do that, but like, I mean, politicians. That's a dirty game. That's not something that people look up to. They already know in the back of their mind. Like I said, if once again, I mentioned this before, guys. If a criminal that got multi-millions of dollars, like this happens a lot in California. If a criminal's paying off a politician, guess what's going to happen when that politician gets reelected? A few of them cases is going to go away. Like, and guys, it is what the fuck it is. It's been going on since the beginning of time. So like, I mean, money talks and like bullshit walks. Like everybody knows that, but like, all I'm saying is this, guys. Like, you always got to strive to be your own person and make you your own worst enemy. Like, and it sounds crazy, guys, but like, that's one of the few gems I learned like over the years. I'm talking like the past 5 years. Like, you could compare yourself to other people. I'm talking from a competitive standpoint, but at the same time, if that person is not the same, doesn't have the same like fundamental makeup as you, like I don't really get long term. Eventually, it's going to get to a point where like I'm talking as you get older. Let's say at 15 years old, you and one of your friends, y'all competing against each other, like, yo, who can make the most money at this part-time job? I mean, that's cool, to compete in general, get the, that's gonna put some fire underneath you. But as you get older, you're gonna realize, like, yo, what I want and what he or she wants may not be the same thing. So like, who am I to tell you what's right or wrong for you, or vice versa? You get what I'm saying? So like, with that being said, like as you get older, you're gonna the same energy stays there, but it transforms to different places. So like now, guys, like, that competitive nature like never left with me wanting to get better, but now I do it for different reasons. And like not different reasons, like could be like right now I'm 33. When I was 30, I was still trying to figure shit out, but like guys, like each and every year it's been, one step better, and like, the goal shouldn't be to like try to hit home runs every day. Like the goal should be to just try to get better each and every day, like, and like that 1% better each and every day, like, it could literally, like I said, guys, it doesn't have to make, your goals don't really have to make sense to other people as long as you're holding yourself accountable. And like I said, you stay committed long term. But like, it could be, weight, like I said, guys, prime example, like weight goal, like I took baby steps. I didn't try to do all this at once. I knew, like I said, I had to start going to the gym 4 days a week. I was still eating like shit and not doing cardio. But like, once I got a couple months into going to the gym, I'm like, yo, like I want results from this. Now, what I'm about to do? I'm about to start doing cardio. And now, like, that got me from like 400 down to like 370 or 360. And like from 360, that's when I stopped losing weight. I'm like, yo, like, damn, cardio ain't enough. Like, wait a minute. I know what I'm burning, but how many calories am I consuming? Now, guys, each and like that 1%, remember I was telling y'all 1% better each and every day. I'm going to the gym 4 days a week, strength training. Now I added cardio. Now, since I know how many calories I'm burning, now I'm going to get the damn Fitbit watch. And like, I got to understand, like, okay, when my calories going out, how many calories are going in? How many calories am I consuming? Now, that led to me, like I said, capping off my daily intake with calories. And like, once I did that, guys, like the weight just started peeling off just like water, But once again, I didn't stop doing anything I did doing as far as like, discipline. I just started adding small trinkets on, going to the gym, like I said, guys, the shit I'm telling y'all, like this everything didn't connect, like I said, all at once. But like, so I knew regardless if I lost weight in a year or not, I was going to stay committed until I figured something out. But like most people, I don't know if you're scared to be committed or whatever the case is, guys. But like, this shit is not going to be, it's not going to feel good all the time. Like you're going to, all your enjoyment and excitement is going to come in hindsight. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's why, like, the instant gratification thing, like, that never works. Especially if you want to achieve something past a certain point. Because, like, guys, like I said, this is out of respect to your past and my past. Like, I can't really be great. Like, I can be grateful for where I came from, but, like, I can't really be satisfied, like, staying in the past. Like, and this is why I was telling you guys on previous videos. Like, I don't get people that, like, stay in the past all the time because it's just, like, I mean, being grateful is one thing. Like, and like I said, guys, when I say people staying in the past, if you had traumatic experiences or whatever the case is, something that like shaped you in a negative light, I mean, accept that it happened. But like I said, guys, like think about you kind of like walking backwards. You're not even looking forward anymore. Like, you're in control of maybe what happened to you in the past wasn't in your control. But now, if you hold it down, like I said, like you stay on top of holding yourself accountable, and you can, once again, you make it a goal to grow each and every day. I mean, your future is going to be a billion times better than, how your past went, because your future is what is 100% in your hands. Like your future is not determined by, like, say, your past, but like that gap in between, like I said, your future, your past and your future is based on, like I said, the thoughts you have now, and, like I said, the actions that you're taking. And guys, the point is, shit, I'm telling y'all, everything you're doing now, no one's thinking about it. No one's seeing what you're doing, because, like I said, guys, everybody got their own problems. Everybody got their own responsibilities. But like everything you see now, as far as like with everything I'm doing, this shit was conjured up years ago, months ago. You get what I'm saying? But I don't feel the need to tell everybody what I'm doing. It's either you want to see it or you don't. You get what I'm saying? Similar to you guys, like I said, whatever goals you got, make it your mission. You don't have to like necessarily broadcast it into the world, but like I said, ultimately, just like I said, hold yourself accountable. You're the only person, like I said, that that knows what's going on in your subconscious mind. Like, and I was talking to my gym bro about this shit. What was this, 2 days ago? He was telling me like he's another deep thinker, man. Like he put me on the game a lot about like with psychological shit, and like I told him like same thing I told you guys. Like I really feel no different. Like I said, I mean I got more stamina. I'm not sluggish, like I said. Like in the morning, I'm talking like after I lost, like I said, a considerable amount of weight. Right now, I'm still hovering at between 315 and 316. But like I told him, I'm like, yo, like I'm talking like the metamorphosis that goes in your mind, like from where you started. I'm talking like from my standpoint, 2025, being at 400 to like now, like I said, Danner, I'm touching on 100 pounds down already. Like, and I'm like, yo, like this shit is like a blur, but it's just like I was like, you get what I'm saying? It's like, imagine you guys like achieving a goal, but then you looking back and saying like, yo, like this shit is really crazy, man. Like I just showed up, man, locked the fuck in, did what I had to do. Most days I didn't feel like showing up, but it's just like I just did what I had to do. I made going to the gym a job, guys. Like I made, like I said, and there's different levels of discipline, guys. Like, what worked for you now may not work for you in 3 years. You have to up the ante, and like I said, you got to sacrifice more in order to get certain things. But like I told my gym bro, I'm like, yo, like the metamorphosis that goes into, like I said, making a change in your life. I'm talking like health wise, like, man, this is not even the gym. Like me eating right, by me waking up 5 in the morning. Like, guys, this is real life shit. I get up at 5 in the morning. I get my 10,000 steps in. 10,000 steps on a flat treadmill at a 3.0 speed. I can get that done in 85 minutes, 82 to 85 minutes. So like, imagine you guys, and I was telling my gym bro this, like, this tripped his head out over this. I'm like, yo, like, imagine you getting up 5 a.m., you get your 85 minutes in. After that, you go to work, you run your couple calls, whatever you got to do. And then guess what? at 3:30, 4 o'clock, you come back home, and now you got to strength train, guys. And like, this has nothing to do with uploading content. Like I told you guys, like, uploading content is not really, I record what I do. So like, the only thing that gets into me uploading content is me working a lot, because like I said, my content comes from my work. So like, it's not really, I don't look at uploading content as a burden. But like, guys, getting up there early, like this week was a motherfucker. But like, I mean, I enjoy it, guys. Like, this is where you gotta get kind of crazy, man, with your goals. Like, you have to enjoy the rigors and the bullshit that goes with, like I said, grinding it out, man. Because like, you get up, imagine you guys, working out, you work out today, and then tomorrow, Saturday morning, you got to get up at 5 a.m. and hit 85 steps. You get up, your knees hurt, your legs hurt, but as soon as you start getting on that treadmill and walking, everything goes away. And like, I don't, guys, like I said, the connection between the mind and the body, I don't understand it. Because like I said, and like, this is what I'm going to tell you, my gym bro said. I'm like, yo, like, most of the days, man, if I'm working on arms tonight, let's say if I'm about to go to the gym tonight, if I know I'm working on arms, for some reason, my fucking arms start to hurt. And like, I'm like, yo, like, I never understood this shit. I'm like, yo, like, I already know mentally I'm locked in, but sometimes like the body does some crazy shit. And I'm like, yo, like, even with, squatting, like if I know tomorrow I'm about to squat, I can do nothing with legs today, but as soon as I wake up tomorrow, I might have a cramp in my leg. And I'm like, yo, like, is my body playing tricks on me? And like, my gym bro was like, yo, like, that's crazy shit. Cause my gym bro, he, like I said, this dude, he's buff. Like, he work out like 5 days a week. Like, but I think he said he was like almost 400 pounds as well. But like, he was telling me about, like I said, the connection between the mind and body. And like, this gave me a totally different perspective. He goes, yeah, like, you got to always understand, like, your body and your mind is always going to be two different entities. I'm like, what do you mean two different entities? He was like, you got to understand, like, you have to train your mind and you have to train your body. That's always going to be two different things. But ultimately, as your mind gets stronger, it's going to sink to your body. And I'm like, yo, that's some real shit. Because like, I mean, if I wasn't locked in mentally, like, if I just relied on how I felt physically, like, imagine how, this is how crazy it sounds. Imagine you guys only going to the gym when you physically feel good. Like, you always gonna be sore, guys, and this is a real life fact. I don't care how old you are, well, especially as you get older, your body is always going to be sore. But being sore from the gym is a good feeling. But being sore from not doing anything, that's a messed up feeling. You don't want to be in that boat, guys. So like, that's why I say, man, like, but back to what he was saying, it was like, yeah, like you always got to look at the mind and the body like two separate entities, but the mind always comes first. Like, the thoughts you give yourself, ultimately, and not only just your thoughts, but like I said, how you perceive what's going on around you. What's going on around you may be negativity, but you have to understand how to convert, that negative thinking. You remember what I said earlier, like find the silver lining. You have to understand how to convert that negative thinking into positive thoughts. And that is what stays in your subconscious mind. Now, guys, I'm telling you, like, it took a while for me to, like I said, understand how life works, but also apply positivity and apply action onto how I thought life really works. Based on what I've seen, like, you mix all that up in the bucket, guys, and now it's like, yo, like, I really like, most of the battles are always going to be in people's heads. Like, it's not going to be so like I said, guys, contrary to what you may see online or hear online, I don't think anyone that's out, like I said, against you, like, I'm talking you in general, like, you may think that based on how you grew up or like the shit you've seen on TV, like the propaganda. Yeah, it's somebody down the street that's plotting on you to take you out. Like, guys, it is what it is. Like I said, me personally, guys, I feel like every human being has the capability of doing bad. Like, it is what it is. Like, I feel like I told you guys, humanity at its core is bad, but you make choices every day of how you choose to deal with it. You get what I'm saying? Like, if you want to worry about the bad shit and the negativity, then look, gosh, it is what it is, But like I said, if you choose to, like I said, if you choose a different path, if you choose a higher path, if you choose not to like blend in, because like I said, everybody knows, like, and like I said, it's not just necessarily just your parents. You got uncles, you got cousins, you got different perspectives that you probably seen growing up that you've never thought about. But as you get older, some things stick with you. You know what works and what doesn't. Like, I mean, I'm talking, like I said, for you guys that grew up in the urban communities, once again, I grew up in Jersey. Like, I never seen anyone play the status quo and like not have an independent thinking. Like, when I say independent thinking, like, you got to, like I said, guys, this is where capitalism takes into play. Like, independent thinking, like, yo, like, I understand what life is. Like, you're not living in denial, but you choose to operate at your own frequency. You get what I'm saying? You're not blaming anyone. You're not waiting for a handout. Like, I mean, that way of thinking may have worked in the 80s and 90s or 70s, but like now, guys, like, we're in the opportunity era, but opportunities don't really show up unless you know what you want and, like I say, you're willing to put the work in, and figure shit out, guys. And like, that's not going to be popular to talk about, like I said, because nowadays, I feel like with social media, like, once again, guys, you got to be wired towards taking the good out of everything. With social media, it gave us a lot of access and it saves us a lot of time, but by having a lot of access without working, to get that access, that could promote, people being lazy. I'm talking everybody, every race or creed, with the Chat GPT thing. I mean, Chat GPT is not going to work for you. Like, you got to put the ideas in for it to conjure up something to help you. So like, I mean, that's why, like, I like I said, guys, I like technology. I don't love it. I like technology. What I mean by that is, like, I appreciate it for what it can do, but I'm not like fully relying on it to a point where like I don't have access to my own thinking. You get what I'm saying? And like, I know you guys seen the iRobot movies. Like, I know what happens like when you rely on technology too much and something gets corrupted. Like I said, now you gotta, now, like I said, it is what it is. AI is built to, like I said, to advance human thinking. But like I said, once AI gets corrupted, somebody put that bad chip inside that AI mega machine. Now AI thinks humanity is expendable. And now look at what you're gonna have. You're gonna have some iRobot Part 2 type shit going on, guys. But guys, like I said, anyway, I just wanted to get on here, man, and talk with y'all. Like, it's gonna be a bunch of talks. Like I said, anytime if I'm working late on Fridays, I'll jump on here on Saturdays. But like I said, guys, these talks are important. Like I said, just the shit I'm telling y'all is not always HVAC related. Like, most of this is just subconscious thinking. Like, you gotta, like I said, I feel like people gotta go back to understanding like how to make the most out of their current opportunities instead of just, and I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with having faith and like praying for opportunities, but like I said, guys, that's no different than gambling. If you keep praying all the time and like not really putting in work, you're just taking a gamble. And like I said, at that point it's time to admit that you got a problem. But like, if you willing to not only have faith and pray for things, but you got to be willing to work too. And like I said, you got to be willing to be the outcast. Like I said, it's a lot more people than people that got that herd, mentality. Like, like, fuck it, man, I ain't gonna try hard today. I might just take what they get. But all right, well, if you take what they give you, guess what's gonna happen if you keep taking what they give you. Now, if you're in that boat 10 years down the line and nothing moves for you, now you can't be in that you're gonna be you can't be in that position of, like, say, complaining, saying, yeah, well, this person didn't do this. No, well, you made the choices that you made. You get what I'm saying? Like, none of this shit is forced, guys. The decisions that you make in your head, no one's putting a gun in your head and telling you you have to do this or you don't have to do this. Like, guys, free will is a thing. Regardless of what happens to you, is always your choice on how you choose to react and the decisions that you make to go about things based on what's happening to you. And like I said, guys, when I say based on what's happening to you, negativity is all around us, guys. But, like, it's opportunities in every single problem. I mentioned this a long time ago, guys. Like, with problems, like I said, problems are not more than just opportunities in disguise. But if you're not in that right mentality, man, just to capitalize on it, then look, I don't think you're going to get the intended, result behind it, guys. But with that being said, what time is it? 12:04. I got to get up out of here. I just wanted to get on here and chat with y'all. But, guys, be on the lookout. I got to put out one later, and I think it's another one coming up tomorrow. But, guys, be on the lookout for more content dropping. Next week, it's funny, I was telling my gym bro, next week it's going to be like, high 50s? And I was telling him next week is going to feel like winter. But, guys, like, I feel like those 2 90-degree days in PA kind of spoiled this. But, I mean, right now it's gonna be a little warm. Well, not warm. It's gonna be like in the mid to low 70s today. But next week it's gonna be a little, not cold, but just not as warm. But, guys, keep rocking and rolling. I gotta head to the next one. I'll see you on the next one.